We had to de-Irishman Olga to have her play. Abuela.
My legs gave out from under me when I saw that.
I remember having to do the rap and resonating with it so much.
Dude, your voice is so deep.
like a voice and a mustache later.
I know, the voice and the mustache.
This is actually how deep it actually is.
When, how, where. I saw Olga on the street on 23rd Street, and we were crossing the street, and it was like, we almost like high-fived each other, like, you know, paciencia y fe, and like, we just kept going, right?
Played Usnavi, and Anthony is Usnavi, and what a joy. Hi, I'm Stage's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
And I am John M. Chu of the movie world.
And this is Around the Table with the cast of In the Heights.
Ba-da-da-da-da. Welcome.
We can't clear that song.
Hi, guys.
How's everyone doing?
And we are joined by Corey Hawkins, Melissa Barrera, Leslie Grace, Dascha Polanco, Anthony Ramos, Olga Merediz, Jimmy Smits, Gregory Diaz IV, and Daphne Rubin-Vega.
Let's go.
Hey,
Yeah.
we're here.
It's a family reunion.
Yes.
Say it so it doesn't disappear.
Washington Heights.
Lights up on Washington Heights. Up at the break of day, I wake up and I got this little punk I gotta chase away. Pop the grate at the crack of dawn. Sing while I wipe down the awning. Hey, y'all. Good morning.
Much
Good to see you
needed.
guys. Everyone looks fantastic. Olga, I've rarely seen you not as Abuela Claudia, so this is shocking to me.
You're looking so fly.
Prepárate, as we say.
Do you like what you see? Do you like what
I love it. I did not know you were 25 years old. That's what's
Yes.
crazy. It's amazing.
We had to de-Irishman Olga to have her play. Abuela.
Olga, can I ask you a question? Since you and Lynn are the vets of this group of In the Heights, what what happened when you got did you want to be in this? Did we beg you to be in this? Like, how did that?
No, I kind of said, I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. No, I remember the day I was in Miami with my mother and the caretaker in the car, and and Lynn called me. He was doing Hamilton in Puerto Rico, and he called me from his dressing room. You know, he was multitasking. And so
What else is new?
he calls me, and I think he's going to say, Olga, you know, I wanted you to hear from me. You did a fantastic job, but we had to give it to. So I go, Lynn, and I start, blah, blah. I'm so nervous. I go, blah, blah, blah. I start talking about it. And then
5 minutos.
yeah, and then the phone call gets cut off, and he has to call me again, and I'm in the car with, anyway. So he tells me that he would be so honored for me to play Abuela Claudia in the movie, and I just screamed and cried, and of course I wanted to do this so badly, and I want to take the opportunity to thank you, Lynn. Thank you so much for helping me do this entire journey with this amazing character from the workshops to off-Broadway to Broadway to finally John Chu's vision of this, your musical. It's been an honor. I'm humbled and overjoyed to have had this opportunity. And this
well, if we're going to start crying, this is going to be a very long round. I'll never forget that call because I could tell Olga wouldn't let me get a word in edgewise to just say, I had to be like, you got it. You got it.
I was like, oh my God, he's going to tell me.
It. And then she started crying and I started crying. And the fact that she was in the car with her mom when, I know how much of the way she performs that song is a love letter to her mother. It was just, again, like one of those like, oh, everything is happening the way it's supposed to. That's how I felt making that call and getting to call so many of you. That was the really fun part of my job in those days in Puerto Rico. I was multitasking.
On these blocks, you can't walk 2 steps without bumping into someone's big plan.
I'm making moves, I'm making deals, but guess what? What? You still ain't got no skills.
Let me kick it back to my co-moderator, John, for a second. John, what was your first experience of In the Heights and like, were you thinking of the movie version then? Is that how your brain works? Were you already plotting when you saw this show all those years ago?
No, I was like, who's this guy, Lin-Manuel Miranda? He has a show on Broadway. Okay. I was actually directing my first movie, Step Up to the Streets,
which I saw opening weekend in the theaters.
Nice. And it's appropriate that Olga is here right now because I remember watching that show and not knowing what to expect and bawling my eyes out watching Abuela Claudia and recognizing, even though I wasn't from Washington Heights, I'm an Asian kid from the Bay Area, grew up in a Chinese restaurant, that I knew exactly who my Abuela Claudia was. I remember making wontons on our kitchen table, and she would do the books for the restaurant, and she would do it on an abacus. And so the sounds, the feel, even though it was very different, I knew exactly what this felt like. The sharing of a table with food, and it just said everything that I didn't know how to say. Lin, that's why I think you have some sort of connection with the main source of the universe, because you plugged into this thing that moved me so much I couldn't get it out of my head. Of course, I didn't think this was a movie I was going to direct, although I saw it in many movie terms for sure. You know, that shot of of Usnavi in the window in our movie, and he's singing outside, and you can feel the yearning, the hope, what it feels like to dream, and yet there is a window in his way, and the reflection of what's in the window is the community dancing and basically daring him to break that window, challenging him, saying, I dare you to dream bigger than this, and he has to break it. To me, that was what I got from that show, and I knew that image very early, that's what I wanted to do. So to have this whole crew, it's surreal to
Beautiful.
be now.
John, you're amazing.
Well, that's an answer.
I've been saving up all my pennies in my piggy bank for this day.
This is going to be an emotional roller coaster. The odds are against you.
But there's a chance, right?
Which by the way, I'll throw this to Anthony. We connected on such a level. I think he auditioned. I don't remember. I just remember our meeting where we sat down and we just cried because you telling us our story of struggle and dreaming and not knowing that you were worth that to pursue something like this. That was amazing to me. Do you remember that?
Yeah, bro, I tell the story all the time. I did back in the day, but I'm hoping, thank God somebody threw it out because I bombed that joint. But
well, I will tell you that if I was in that audition room, I don't remember anything until your Hamilton audition a few years later when you sang my shot and you looked ready to destroy the world. And I was like, oh, this kid is hungry. And it was a wrap after that.
Yeah, man.
That was what's so special about, I know, it was a culmination of things, right? Like Lin, when I auditioned for Hamilton and I was in front of all you guys, I was not like those words. It felt like you wrote those words for me. Like when I was rapping that, I meant every single word. I'm past patiently waiting. I'm passionately smashing every expectation. Every action is an act of creation. I'm laughing in the face of casualties and sorrow. People dying in my hood where I grew up, and people sad or who didn't make it, who didn't chase their dreams. I'm laughing in the face of casualties and sorrow. For the first time, I'm thinking past tomorrow, and I'm not throwing my shot. Those words led to. I'm a street like chilling in the heat. I illuminate the stories of the people in the street. Some have happy endings, some are bittersweet, but I know them more, and that's what makes my life complete. Coming from somebody who's tried to escape from the hood my whole life and escape from New York because of the trauma I had in this neighborhood, or this happened here, or the way I grew up, and then realizing, which is all the stuff that, I shared, John and I shared with each other over breakfast was, how much I wanted to run away for so many years, because that's what I thought. If I could leave, I made it, if only I can get out. And then it was like, oh, wait, but then what this movie taught me in this, and I guess over the years, right, over time, it's like, it's actually finding peace within yourself. You know what I'm saying? Which is what this character Usnavi, what you wrote, man. This dude who is dreaming of leaving and dreaming of going somewhere, and he's going through all these hardships, and he's got this business that he inherited that he never asked for. And, he's got this girl that he can't tell her he loves her. He's got he's got the, abuela he's trying to take care of, the little cousin who's in this, dealing with family issues, and he's just trying to take care of him. He's like, how do I even take care of myself?
And I didn't know I was writing it for you until I saw you do it. So imagine my delight. It was like, oh, that's why. It was so that this kid could play it. And the thing I've been saying in every interview is, oh, I played Usnavi. And Anthony, is Usnavi. And what a joy.
En un barrio called Washington Heights, the streets were made of music. I am Usnavi, and you probably never heard my name. Reports of my fame are greatly exaggerated.
Morning, Usnavi.
Pan caliente, café con leche.
I know. I feel like, I saw the beginning of In the Heights, and it was inconceivable to me that anyone else could play Usnavi, because Lin was Usnavi. Lin is Usnavi. Lin is.
Here, I'll just add the parenthetical that Daphne was in that original production. She's the voice of the radio announcer at the top of the show. And not a lot of people know that, but she lent us her voice for the power. What? It's going to be a hot one. It's Daphne's voice in the original Broadway production.
What?
Hey, you're welcome. But I wanted to say that it was inconceivable that anyone else could play Usnavi. So it really is astounding to see the passing of that mantle in that way. That's all I got to say about that.
And Daphne, I remember when every time we brought up your name, everyone was like, "Oh, she is the queen. Daphne's going to be in this. Oh my God." And then when you came in, Daniela's hard because there's a very specific way that Daniela was played before. And how do you reinvent that? What is that? And you came in and you tore it all down. You had your own, like in the way Anthony speaks it, like it's church, you had a whole nother church, a whole rowdier church that you were running there. I loved it when you came in and just gave so much spirit to that. Do you remember what you felt like to, taking over a role that existed in another form and what you were trying to do?
I mean, like I say this before, like every Latino, Latinx actor knew about In the Heights on the radar. And we were just like on deck to hear, like, okay, when, how, where. I saw Olga on the street on 23rd Street, and we were crossing the street, and it was like, we almost like high-fived each other, like, paciencia y fe, che, and like, we just kept going, right?
I remember when we were casting Daniela and Carla, and it was like, all right, Dascha, you read this. All right, Daphne, you read this. All right, Steph, you read this. And then we had the three of you play together, and we were like, no, it's all three of them. You're coming in.
Yeah.
Kuka, you exist now. It's like the chemistry was just so insane that it was just like, that's what it is.
We need them.
Playing a character that was so powerful in the first iteration, Andrea Burns was like, like she was on that stage doing just perfect. So I feel like I've been really fortunate to be able to originate roles. And that's the permission that I give myself as an actor. And that was given to me by John Lynn Chiara to make her have just a bigger life in the community and to represent in different ways. So, that was so fun. And
again, Mimi and Rent, I mean, your voice is in our childhood, in our teen years, in every part of of growing up. So what an honor. And I don't know if I said that enough, that every day you were, that you were. We'll do it right here with EW. You were inspiration every day. No, we love you so much. And even in our group chats, you still have that spice that you spice it up.
There's the line and then there's Mimi.
So then Yesenia walks in the room. She smells sex and she perfume. It smells like one of those trees that you hang from the rear. I know it's true. She screams, "Who's in there with you, Julia?"
Daniela
grabs the bat and kicks in the door.
Carla.
He's in bed with Jose from the liquor store. No me diga.
And that's Kuka, the salon ladies.
Thanks, Usnavi.
And Leslie, you auditioned a year before we even cast. I remember that audition. Do you?
I do. And it was bad. I was so green. I had so much to learn. I still have so much to learn. And I just still, even when I think about it now, I feel so blessed that you were able to see Mara, everybody that was in that room that first time around were able to see something special, or some potential.
It was really a year later when you came back.
Yeah, it wasn't then.
But you killed it. I mean, something happened. I don't know what happened in that year. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I love your story because it's so. Your mom has a salon. Like everything you say, and Nina is someone that everyone plugs into immediately. I mean, I plug into Nina so much about the way. Will you talk about how you found that?
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like I was reading bits and pieces of my fragmented life. Like I felt like, I felt that. I've been that. I moved to, from New York to Florida at 10, and I was faced with like, oh, I have to explain who I am for the first time. I don't know what that is. I got to code switch. I got to straighten my hair. I got to, and I think within what might've happened within that year and a half or 2 years, that I was able to come back into the room and like present myself again in front of you and Kiara, and then eventually Lin. Like I had pieced together a little bit of what I have experienced, what my path was. That was Nina's experience in her going off to Stanford, was in real time, like experiencing a lot of the pressures that Nina does feel. And we do explore it through her character in our movie, which is, the guilt of not, not feeling fully comfortable stepping into a path that your parents worked so hard for you to even dream up, and the responsibility, a lot like Usnavi feels, and like Ant feels himself, of taking care of the people that made you up, that brought you up, and admitting the fear of that. Nina struggles so hard, and we all, in our past, that's something that everybody feels at some point, admitting that you're afraid of what your potential, may be, or like pursuing a dream that, is not only as big as you, but it's bigger than you. It's about the people that you're doing it for, beyond whatever your passion is or whatever it is that you want to achieve. And I think I had like linked up, I had connected some of those dots by then, and had gone through a little bit more of my own struggle to be able to tap in to Nina a bit more by the time that second read came around. Thank God. Lots of auditions, lots of no's too. So
I love that moment where you connect with your dad at the end. I mean, even at the dinner party, had so many versions in our script, but also on stage, but to see you when you talked about being searched at school, I think it impacted everybody at that table. I think we were all jammed into this hot room, and it was a long day, and you hit that story and you floored us. And I had a lot of
generosity in the room. We all know what that room was that day. It was hot, it was long, it was tense. There were long lines. We knew that this was like, a very tenuous, very delicate moment that had to be treated with like a lot of it was delicate. And I thank all of you. I'll take the opportunity to thank all of you. I'm gonna cry. You cradled me in that moment because I was really scared. And that allowed me to pull through.
And you did, baby girl, you did.
Yes, anytime.
Jimmy, tell us how it is to play her father in this and what you wanted to bring to, because you also have a past within the Heights.
Just hearing Leslie talk about that day, it makes me think about being emotionally available to each other. And that's what this cast had in such a big way. Did it have to do with the fact that there was this 2-month boot camp prior to the shooting, and it just kind of like, whether you were from Mexico, Dominican Republic, or Cuba, or Puerto Rico, DC, or Brooklyn, or
don't forget Panama.
It was like in Panama, with the bandera up there.
Yeah.
That cohesion that happened in terms of what ensemble is and what community is. Those are the themes that Lin and Kiara wrote when the show was originally done. And when Olga got to do, What Paciencia and Fe, all of those themes, and those themes that are universal that you got to amplify on, Johnny, in terms of odes to old Hollywood and what community is, where do I fit in? Am I here home, or what my dad and mom said? All of those things, they're going to resonate on it because it's universal, because it's those universal kind of themes. So after coming out of this pandemic, and we're in theaters, that everything happens for a reason, that we got our little bit of joy to give to the world.
Next up, ding, Kevin Rosario. He runs the cab company. He struggles in the barrio. See, his daughter Nina's off at college. Tuition is mad steep, so he can't sleep. Everything he get is mad cheap.
Good morning, Usnavi.
Pan caliente, café con leche.
Put $20 on today's lottery.
Okay, must be a lucky day.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Greg, you were a child when you filmed this. You are now a man with a mustache.
We're now a mustache.
What was your childhood filming in the Heights in the summer of 2019 like? Looking back on it as an adult now, as you clearly are.
I kind of just think back all the way like to the audition process.
Dude, your voice is so deep.
like a voice and a mustache later.
I know the voice and the mustache.
This is actually how deep it actually is.
Have a nice day.
He was method back then.
Right.
Guys, this is my real voice. I was pretending the whole time. I remember having to do the rap and resonating with it so much, especially lines like, because the ghetto has a million promises for me to keep. And that I always think back to that, just like, and I think that's why when I was rapping it, I like to attack that and punch it so much. And just, I remember walking into the chemistry testing and that like / director session with Kiara and Lynn and Anthony and John, and just on the inside, like absolutely fangirling and like having no idea what to do and just being there like, oh my God. But on the outside, just being like, all right, like I got to bring my A game because, you know, this was something that I really wanted and I strived for hard. And even like those crazy calls that Lynn were making, like Lynn, you called me after I got out of the dentist. You weren't in the frame at first, and I just see like a bunch of like Tonys in the background, and I'm like what's going on?
Not just Tony's, bro. Not just Tony's.
Yeah, I got to talk to Greg Diaz IV and III and deliver the good news on that day.
But the best part was the video that we said, hey, can you send, because they videotaped, or we had a video of it, and on Lynn's side of the video, you're like super calm about it, Greg. You're like, oh, yeah, thank you so much, Lynn. You're still great about that. And then later, like a month later, we got the video from your dad, and as soon as you're hanging up, you're like, like running around.
That's exactly what it was. I was just like, I don't know. I just feel like I had to like keep it calm and cool. And I was like, yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. And it's like, it's gonna be... And then as soon as he hung up, I was just with my dad. And I was like, Wah! And then my teeth felt weird because I just came out of the dentist too. And I was like,
Bye.
Sonny, you're late.
Chillax. You know you love me.
Me and my cousin running just another dime a dozen. Mom and pop stop and shop. And oh my God, it's gotten too darn hot. Like my man Cole Porter said, people come through for a few cold waters and the lottery ticket. Just a part of the routine. Everybody's got a job. Everybody's got a dream. They gossip as I sip my coffee and smirk. The first stop is people hop to work. What's it? I'm like...
Dascha, will you talk to us about Carnaval del Barrio Day? Because watching you rally the troops.
Let's go.
You and Anthony, like we had, again, like 8-minute number. We had one day to film it from sun up to sundown. I want you to talk a little bit about that day, because I remember you
guys
were
not
really
like, because you guys are about to make me cry, because I'm just listening to everybody. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Is this like a session? I don't know what's going on. Well, for me, alongside everybody else, a dream, right? Being from New York and growing up here and thinking like, oh, this is not obtainable. It is. And then dealing with something that's so special when it comes to music for me, and being vulnerable in that place with people that have the experience doing it. By the way, that you guys put me under pressure in the studio when we were recording, when everybody was there. It was Lynn, John, Warner's, I don't know who else was there. I was like, I've never recorded in front of so many people. But it's all good, because in the long term, I realized that this is a process, and that's exactly what the film is about. It's about the process of a dream, of taking March and April and preparing for these scenes. And even when we rehearsed in Carnaval and the big numbers, even at the rehearsal, there was a moment of like this this spiritual awakening and emotion throughout where we all just couldn't contain ourselves. Like to see all these flags, to see the diversity, diaspora, to see the stories and the universal language being depicted in such a beautiful way with what you, Lin, Kiara, and the direction of John have done, is something that you can't contain yourself. Even at rehearsal, through the sweat, through it all, through the tights, through it. I mean, there was moments that I just had to like separate myself and say, wow, I've never seen this before. Like, I've never seen this before. And so that time when we shot the scene, I remember that we took a moment, because mind you, I've never been on a set that there's real fire skates surrounding you. Like I've chilled on the fire skate, you know, like growing up, that's like your backyard. You chill on the fire skate, you know, you hang your clothes, you know, you do everything.
You grill.
So being there that moment, after all it took, we did a little circle and we just respectfully asked for the energy to release all negativity and to bring as much positivity and light and for it to evoke through and for us to just deliver. And it was a long day, but it didn't feel long for me. It felt like this is our moment. And once we yelled cut, that everybody was like, like, all I could say is like, New York, where we at? You know what I mean? Like, we here. And for me, being a hype woman and playing the role of Kuka and all that and being surrounded by all you guys, I can't.
So I knew Corey was like a serious actor. And like cut to me at like the US Open and now to sing the national anthem, Corey Hawkins, I went, and then like him really singing, and that was really when you landed on the map for me as like a possibility for this film, Corey. I mean, I would love for you to sort of speak to how this challenged you or didn't, because you can kind of do everything easy.
Oh my God. What nice, kinder words could never, I mean, thank you. And it means a lot coming from you, just being here with y'all, man. Like this whole process, this musical was the first musical that I had ever seen on Broadway. So it wasn't My Fair Lady or like this or that. Like, it was like, this is what I thought musicals were supposed to be.
And Melissa, you saw it on Broadway too, right?
15 times.
Once, just once.
Come on.
Not too many.
Not once.
Not too many times. So, I mean, you know, this whole process for me was just, and to be able to also shout out to Chris Jackson, like walk in his shoes for his incredible performance and like, and to, you know, again, be a part of something that just lifts up who we are on screen and representation and to literally see ourselves. I also lived in the Heights too, right on 168, like around where we were shooting. So like, and way uptown in Inwood as well. And like, just seeing ourselves in this, it was just beautiful, man. And I'm just thankful for the opportunity. I'm just grateful that finally we get to like share it with the world, because it feels like it's been our little secret for so long.
Corey lied to us and said he can't sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't let me. They won't let me say that no more.
It's forbidden. I
really didn't. I had never done it before, like, you know, in front of people. So here I am opposite like Leslie and Anthony and Melissa. Everybody's like, I'm sitting in the studio like, you know.
We sitting in the studio scared because we're like, damn, you sing. You ain't never did this before, you sure?
You ain't got no skills. Ready? Yo, let me get a Milky Way. Yep. And let me also get a daily news. And the post. And the most important mile. Boss, a second coffee, 1 cream, 5 sugars. I'm the #1 earner. What? Fastest learner. What? Boss, he can't keep me on the damn back burner. Yes, he can. I'm making moves, I'm making deals. But guess what? What? Still ain't got no skill.
Melissa, tell us about your experience and what your, what are you, hardest days, best days?
They were all best days of my life. No, it was incredible. It was amazing to, you know, from beginning to end. I had very high expectations of what this process was going to be because I was a huge fan of the musical. I saw it for the first time when it just opened on Broadway. I got to see Lin and Karen Olivo and Mandy Gonzalez and Chris. I saw the original cast, and then I saw probably every iteration of every cast after that until it closed. And so being a part of this for me was like the biggest dream come true and the biggest full circle moment of my life.
I remember I called Olivo on the first day of filming. We were filming It Won't Be Long Now. I was like, Olivo, look, and watching you flip out was
literally my legs gave out from under me when I saw that, because for some reason I thought it was your wife. For some reason I thought your wife was gonna say like good luck or something. I don't know, because Vanessa, I was like, I don't know.
Right.
And then I look in the phone and it's Karen Olivo, and I was already nervous because it was day one of shooting and I had to like jump right into song and dance of It Won't Be Long Now. And then seeing her and having her be so sweet and wish me luck. It was exactly what I needed that day.
Here's your chance, ask her out right now.
I'll see you later, we can look at that lead.
Whoa, do something, make your move, don't freeze. Hey.
You owe me a bottle of cold champagne.
Are you moving?
Just a little credit check and I'm on that downtown train.
Well, your coffee's on the house.
Okay.
Usnavi, ask her out.
No way. I'll see you later, so.
Well, I'll wrap up and just say that I think what moves me the most is all of these stories make me want to cry, but for me to hear, Corey, that this was your first Broadway musical makes my life, because this show exists because I just didn't see a way forward. I loved musicals so much, and I just don't dance well enough to be a shark. And the fact that was your way in, and that was your first example of a Broadway musical means everything to me. And I feel like I've been waiting all my life for all of you, and I'm so happy to see you. And thank you, John, for dreaming so big on behalf of all of us. This has been Stage's Lin-Manuel Miranda with Screen's John M. Chu. For Around the Table with the cast of In the Heights, check out our film In the Heights when it debuts on screens everywhere and HBO Max. And if you have time, buy this book, In the Heights, Finding Home, which comes out June 15th and chronicles the 20-year journey of In the Heights from stage to screen.
Yes.